You see, son, old legends never die. They just lose weight.
Like a legend and out-of-work bum look a lot alike, Daddy.
Bandit, me and my son are here. Oh, I love your suits. It must be a bitch getting a size 68 extra fat and a 12 dwarf. I came to make a deal. What's he get if he wins this truck rodeo thing?
$5,000, Daddy.
Chicken shit money. Just what the hell do you want anyway? You to get out of this dumbass rodeo and accept the real challenge. Get into Texarkana and back in 28 hours, that's no problem.
It ain't never been done before, hot shit.
Watch your language, little lady. The problem is that Coors beer. You take that east of Texas and that's bootlegging.
I believe you're just a little bit scared.
Great psychology. Why don't you say something bad about my mother?
Your mama is so ugly.
Look. You make this run for me. Now these Peterbilt here are worth $80,000. That comes to about $3,000 an hour if you make it in 28 hours. How about that for a challenge?
Dad, I don't believe that's necessary.
Never mind. Wait a minute. Why do you want that beer so bad?
Because he's thirsty, dummy.
You see, I got a boy running tomorrow in the Southern Classic. And when he wins, I want to celebrate in style. How much style? Well, I got a few friends and me, 400 cases. Well, let me see your cash. Big Indian's word is gold. All right, show him the cash. Go ahead, little.
Shit.
Well, let's see. That's 400 cases of beer. I'll need the cash for that. No problem. Go ahead, boy. New car. Gotta have a new car to block for the truck. Okay, go ahead, boy.
I'd like to kick his ass just once.
Speedy car. Speedier than that. Go ahead.
Come down here, please, because I'm alone.
Did you hear that? Yeah.
I know y'all heard that.
I heard that. Did you hear that?
I know I heard something down here. What was that?
Oh, did you hear that?
Dude, I just saw some eyes back there.
Yeah, we
Just heard something. You hear something? Yes.
Welcome to Misfit Apparitions, the podcast. I'm Don. Be sure to check us out at misfitapparitions.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel with the handle at Misfit Apparitions. Listen to the podcast on our website, our YouTube channel, or wherever podcasts can be found. If you enjoy the podcast, please give us a review, a like, or a thumbs up, and spread the word about us. We appreciate it as it helps the podcast become recognized. If you have any comments, concerns, or questions, please drop us an email at mapod@misfitapparitions.com. That's MAPOD at misfitapparitions.com. Or ask us directly from a social media platform that you feel comfortable using. This episode is being recorded from the haunted Magnolia Hotel in Seguin, Texas, a place the team had been wanting to visit since our humble beginnings. And since this is my first time visiting here, I thought the episode should include something special to mark its importance in the team's history. So I am being joined by two other first-time visitors to the haunted Magnolia Hotel, as well as first-timers joining a paranormal investigation. They are a power couple and self-proclaimed royalty. On behalf of Misfit Apparitions, I am honored to welcome from the Kingdom of Werdardo, Baron and Baroness Bakair, Baron Dune and Baroness Elize. Welcome to the podcast.
There was no trumpets. I am used to trumpets when my name is announced.
I do apologize for that. I guess in this country we don't do that unless we are prepared for it.
I have always said the Americans are very uncivilized, but Where's my wine?
We'll have some wine for you here shortly, Baroness. Thank you both for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with me and
You
our...
promised me wine in a box.
I understand. We'll get that to you just a second. I promise you. I just want...
I'm royalty. I do not wait.
Wine, please.
Here, I have a 32-ounce cup. Fill her up. Thank you.
Okay. A straw too, huh?
Well, it is the most convenient way not to spill, okay? The more wine I drink, the more I spill.
Well, thank you both for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with me and our loyal listeners.
You're a very handsome man. Has anyone ever told you?
Perhaps Baroness has had a little too much wine before the podcast.
I'm sorry, you do not correct royalty.
You're right, I apologize.
You are still a handsome man, despite being rude.
Okay. Well, before we begin this interview, I'd like our listeners to note the format change in today's episode.
I would like the listeners to know that he is blushing. I so charming.
Okay, let's start that again. Before we begin, I'd like our listeners to note the format change in today's episode. Normally, I would spend time talking about a location's history, but because we have distinguished guests, that will wait. So, it's a pleasure that you're here, you and the Baron.
Yes, my husband and I have traveled very, very far to arrive in the middle of a heat wave.
That is true. It is very hot here, especially in this part of the country.
It is ridiculous. I have had to shower and bathe and shower and change 42 times today. I am running out of clothes. But we are going to Neiman Marcus. Would you like to go?
I don't think I can make that, but I do appreciate the invitation.
I could buy you a few outfits.
Another time, perhaps?
We will see.
Okay, Baron Du, my first question to you. Can you tell our listeners about the kingdom of Redardo? I do not speak of these things.
My husband, he does not speak of these things. I am the spokesperson for our country.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about the kingdom of Redardo?
It is a secret city deep in the mountains where we do not speak of things. We are independent. We are governed by no one except my husband and myself. We have our own security, our own currency, our own rules about marriage and fidelity, and other things.
That all sounds very interesting.
Of course, it's very interesting.
All right.
Oh my goodness, your dimple. Oh, it is so charming. Oh, if you could only see her. Brava. Ay, he is blushing again. So charming.
Okay, let's, if we can move on if you don't mind. Thank you for the compliments, though. All right, so how did you become interested in the paranormal? What attracted you to the pseudoscience, as some people call it?
To be honest, it was my mother and my Grandma Nona. Grandma Nona had the foresight to die and not tell anyone where the jewelry was hidden. This enraged my mama. For days she screamed and threw things around. My goodness, a woman could not even function. She was running around in a bathing suit. So she became interested in what do you call them? The people who speak to dead.
Paranormal investigators, maybe, or empaths.
I believe she
Psychics.
was a psycho.
Oh, psychic.
Psychic.
Yes.
I knew the woman. She was also a little psycho. So Mama called her, and they were able to raise the spirit of my grandma Nona, who through the farm, in the ways of the old ways, remained stubborn as hell, even as she transitioned in death, and refused to tell my mama where all the jewelry was hidden. But when my mama died, Grandma Nona, she told me, it was wonderful.
Your grandmother got in touch with you?
Yes. And we did not use the services of the psychic woman. There was no need to be throwing money at an idiot. She was an idiot, poor woman. May she rest in peace.
So for you to experience that visit by your grandmother, that didn't put any fear into you? You just...
My grandma Nona, she was scary enough in life. In death, it was just a little bit easier. You could see through her.
That is a very interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very unique way of getting into the paranormal. So I guess that piqued your interest to get in.
Yes. If Grandma Nona could tell me secrets, what could the rest of the dead family tell me? Oh my goodness, we would have such parties. During a full moon, we would sit outside in the courtyard. It was nice having them. They couldn't eat or drink, so it was cheap. We sat around, we discussed, we laughed, we cried. We made fun of each other. It was wonderful.
Is there a specific place you find interesting, paranormal-wise, and would like to visit?
Your city of New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
The beignets, I hear, are outstanding. And the number of voodoo huts and witch doctors that you have, I cannot wait to see what will turn up. We are booked to be there in October, the Baron and I. Poor dear, he will sleep. He does not travel well. Well, it does not help that I give him Benadryl to help along the way.
October, huh? That's probably a pretty busy time for New Orleans with Halloween and...
Yes. This whole city will be crazy. But I have booked with my friend. She owns a haunted mansion. I will not say names. I am very discreet. And just so you know, young man, I am discreet in everything. Do not flash me that dimple again, you naughty boy.
Prior to our recording, when we were going over some of these questions, you mentioned Seattle as a location too. What do you find attractive over there?
The coffee, the rain, the endless homeless people who like to talk to lampposts. Very, very amusing. The Baron and I sat one day, drinking coffee, eating these little pastries. Oh my God, they were delicious. Lemon and raspberry. Have you ever had lemon and raspberry? Oh my God, it was almost... Oh, I cannot use that word. It has an O in it. This man was talking to a lamppost and arguing. At the end, I think he married it.
Well, it is Seattle from what they say. But is there anything specific in Seattle that's paranormal-wise that...
I do not know.
Okay, you just find the environment attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's...
Would you like to go?
I don't think I ever have any interest in going to the Pacific Northwest. I don't know why, but it's not on any kind of bucket list of mine.
Well, maybe the Baroness can change your mind.
Okay, let's move on.
He is blushing again. My goodness, you are adorable. Here, sweetheart, drink some more wine. No, you are fine. You are fine.
Are there any places in your kingdom that are considered haunted or known for paranormal activity?
No. I will tell you. The kingdom of Hurtado, we have very strict rules. We've lived our life. It was a good life or a bad life. Once we reach the end, we go to our reward in heaven, or we sink to the depths of hell. It all depends how you played your cards.
Okay. So nothing there. A paranormal team going to visit would probably...
They'd be bored out of their mind.
Mm-hmm.
They would be filming the goats.
Okay. Let's just say you did have... Maybe something was discovered recently, that there is some activity. Let's say, for instance, your grandmother. Would you invite a paranormal team to get in contact with your grandmother?
No, my grandma Nona did not like people while she was alive, much less when she is dead.
I understand you, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my grandma Nona has not crossed over because she is on trial.
On trial?
Something silly about the murder of someone's wife. It is non-consequential, I'm sure. I am sure Grandma will beat the case, as you say.
When preparing for this podcast, I could not find any information on your kingdom. Why is it so secretive? What is it? What do you guys hide? Are you hiding anything?
Only because I like your dimple. I will tell you. We have a lot of people who live in Hurtado and pay much money to stay hidden. I am not saying that they are members of the mafia. Russian, Italian, American, Hungarian, or even a few Chinese. But let us just say that we are well funded.
Okay. That's about as much as I'm going to get out of you, huh? Why is the Baron looking at me that way?
The Baron is on a lot of medication. He does not sleep well, so he let's not worry about the Baron right now.
Okay. Just a couple more questions.
Wine? Is more wine coming?
Yes, are you ready for more wine, Baroness?
What a silly question, you silly boy. More? 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 Oh, hurry up. Oh, my goodness. Were they selling it to you or what?
Only the best for the Baron and Baroness, right?
Yes, it is the good wine. It is the one in the box with the plastic spout. I like it.
I noticed the Baron's not partaking in any wine tonight.
The Baron cannot drink and take medication.
Oh, that's right. That's not good.
It would be known as poisoning.
So
over-medicate.
Well, that's good. You watch out for him then.
Oh, always. Always. Oh, my goodness. He is the love of my life. Absolutely. However long his life may be.
You briefly told me about how you guys met. Would you want to share with our listeners a little bit of that?
Tonight it is ghost stories, not love stories.
You're right. Okay. My mistake. Maybe off recording.
You are planning off recording?
Let's just move on. Sorry.
Oh my goodness. That shade of red I have not seen since I was 16.
You're not making me feel uncomfortable. You're making me blush. Yes. It's a little. I'm a little nervous because I've got royalty here.
Do not be nervous. Without clothes, we are just people.
All right. So there's a couple more questions if that's okay with you.
I am tiring of this. When will it be over?
Well, just 3 more questions.
All right, dimple boy.
What is your belief on what happens to our souls when we die? I think you explained that. You go to heaven or you go to hell?
When you die? Yes, it is that simple. You go to heaven if you've lived a good life and kept the murder count below 3. Sometimes murder can be justified. And you go to hell when you do atrocious things to animals, elderly, or children. Not necessarily in that order, but in Verdardo, you are given a trial. When you are found guilty of any offense that involves children, elderly, and animals, you are immediately put to death. As they say, we do not waste time by sending you to Penn University. You Americans are too soft.
When you say you're put to death, is there an appeal process? Is there a length of time?
Why waste my time and my resources? They get fed. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. They are used to fertilize the earth.
I see.
We have a process.
Okay. And when you say they're immediately put to death,
My goodness, what do you not understand? They wave to their family, cry and scream. We take them through a door, load it onto a vehicle, never to be seen again. No mess, no fuss, it's done.
okay. I guess that system works well in Werdardo.
We have not had a murder since 1642.
Wow. That's quite a long streak there.
Yes, we are very proud of it.
All right, so how long will you be visiting the United States, and what are your plans after?
That is a security question I am not allowed to answer.
Okay, fair enough. That's
And my plans after. They depend on you, my young, dimpled, bashful man. This wine is so good. Delicious.
maybe the Baroness has had a little too much wine.
I'm sorry, are you passing judgment on royalty?
Just suggesting, that's all.
I suggest you stop. That's all.
Okay, one more question.
I die.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's just, if you don't mind, one more question.
Hurry up.
Okay, what do you hope to learn throughout our investigation tonight in this beautiful hotel?
Yes, it is a beautiful hotel. They have done an excellent job with restoration. The history, oh my God, I love the history. It is just so interesting and so sad. Poor little Emma, cut down at such a young age. And then to have the man responsible die of old age, we would not have that in Huertardo. His death would have been slow, painful, and very, very bloody. But I hope to understand all those who are still waiting here as to why they wait. They should go on. Rest in peace.
That's a very great closing, as the Baroness appeared to have gotten very comfortable here at the microphone.
My little Doomsday. Yes, come close.
So, on behalf of Misfit Apparitions, I would like to say thank you for being here with us and answering some of these questions. We hope to have you back on the podcast again.
Cocaine Bear. No.
Again, this Baroness and Baron Bakir of Huertardo. We hope to have him on
What
again
happened?
soon.
Oh, why am I drooling?
Are you
hello.
okay, Baroness?
My goodness.
I guess you kind of nodded off there a second.
What did you say?
It appears you may have nodded off for
The
a second.
Baroness does not nod off. Why is this place so hot? Is this hell? Did I have to come to hell?
No, we're not in hell, Baroness. You're on a podcast.
Oh, that is right.
Okay, so I want to say thank you to yourself and the Baron for being here with us, and hopefully
Yes. Flash me that dimple one more time.
we can have you back on the podcast at some point in the future. Would you like that?
For the right amount of boxed wine, of course.
Oh, we'll make that possible for you.
Could it be chilled next time?
Absolutely.
I'm not a heathen.
I hope you all enjoyed that unusual interview. It was nice to have a guest join the podcast. Who knows? We may actually run into those two again in the future. I don't know if that would be a good thing or a bad thing, though. Regardless, let's move on to the history and reported hauntings at the Magnolia Hotel. The Magnolia Hotel, located in the beautiful historic district of Seguin, Texas, has stood at its location for 184 years and has had 12 owners before its current owners, Erin and Jim Getty, rescued it from extinction. Those owners spanning that century and a half plus, some of whom will be discussed, have been, in order of ownership, James Campbell, Joseph Johnson, Michael Erskine, Jeremiah Calvert, Dr. William Reed and William Carpenter, Thomas Dickey Johnston, Claire Johnston, Hilmar Weinert, Herman and Louise Herzog, Mattie Dalchow, the Grand Lodge for the Order of the Sons of Herman of San Antonio, Edgar and Vivian Lanham. Located in one of the oldest cities in Texas, the Magnolia Hotel's history began between the years of the Republic of Texas in 1836 and its annexation by the United States in 1845. In 1983, the Seguin Commercial Historic District was placed on the National Register of Historic Places, and the following, taken from the register's nomination form, provides a peek at the early history of Seguin. The site of Seguin is part of a Spanish land grant of 1831 to Humphreys Branch, a settler brought from Missouri to Gonzales by impresario Green DeWitt. Branch sold his grant in two parts to Joseph S. Martin and Thomas R. Miller in 1834. They and a few others settled the land, but abandoned it upon the approach of Santa Anna's army in 1836. 2 years later, Martin laid plans to found a town on his half of the grant. Miller had unfortunately died at the Alamo. Martin and three partners, Arthur Swift, James Campbell, and Matthew Caldwell, split the 2,214-acre site into 44 shares, 40 of which were to be sold with proviso that the purchaser move onto his share and build within a certain period of time. The town site was surveyed in a regular grid pattern north from the Guadalupe River, with blocks 200 feet square between 70-foot wide streets. In February 1839, the name of the town was changed from Walnut Springs to Seguin in honor of Juan Nepomuceno Seguin. The town grew steadily, and in 1846 was named the seat of the newly formed Guadalupe County. The earliest commercial buildings were of frame construction, as there were several sawmills by the mid-1850s. Only a few log or adobe structures were built. One, now called the Nogales Museum, remains 1 block south of the district. It predates the founding of the town. Between 1847 and 1850, concrete was first used as a building material in Seguin, promoted by Dr. John Eston Park. Park immigrated to Seguin from Georgia in about 1847. James Campbell, one of Seguin's co-founders previously mentioned, built a 2-room log cabin. He was the first lieutenant of the Gonzales Rangers led by Captain Matthew Caldwell, also a Seguin co-founder. Using wood set aside for the construction of the town's stockade that eventually was not needed, Campbell's log cabin basement was used as a jail and shelter from common Indian raids of the day. Completed in 1840, it became what would eventually become the Magnolia Hotel. However, not long after its construction, Campbell was killed by Comanches just outside San Antonio. Joseph Johnson purchased the cabin and converted it to the town's stagecoach stop. He later constructed a 3-room hotel behind the station using John Eston Park's concrete, or more commonly known as limecrete, a slurry mixture of gravel and lime. Michael Erskine owned the property for a brief period during Johnson's ownership. It was next sold to Jeremiah Calvert, a man of extraordinary wealth who was a descendant of Lord Calvert Baltimore and Leonard Calvert, the state of Maryland's first governor. Calvert's daughter Susan married Texas Ranger John Jack Coffee Hayes in the south room of the hotel in 1847. Ownership of the hotel changed in 1850 when William Carpenter and dentist Dr. William Reed ran the hotel for 10 years. During his ownership, the hotel added the 2-story wooden structure seen today. From around 1860 to 1900, Texas militia Colonel Thomas Dickey Johnston and his wife Catherine Kennerly Calvert owned the hotel. Catherine's father, Jeremiah, owned the hotel just over a decade earlier. During the first few decades of the 20th century, the hotel went through a few changes in ownership and a couple of transformations, including becoming a brothel and boarding house, before eventually closing its doors to the public. Colonel Johnston's granddaughter, Claire Johnston, owned the property for just over 10 years. Then sometime in the 1930s, Edgar and Vivian Lanham acquired the hotel and began remodeling. The Lanham apartment house came about when they converted the 10 rooms on the hotel's second floor into 4 small apartments and owned the property for over 60 years. Sadly, after the death of Vivian, the building deteriorated and became an open revolving door for drug users and the homeless. In 2012, it made it on the Preservation Texas list of most endangered historic places. A year later, Jim and Erin Getty purchased the property and began restoration. Today it is a bed and breakfast where its entire second floor can be rented for the night. A portion of the second floor has been modernized to include a living room area, 2 bedrooms, a small kitchen, and a full bathroom. But behind an always closed door is the remaining floor left unrestored since the Gettys purchased. Walking through that doorway from the comforts of contemporary conveniences to the unknown past is a very surreal experience. The list of reported spirits residing on the property as of this podcast are as follows. Emma Volker. Emma was a 12-year-old girl living in New Braunfels, Texas. Her father, Julius, was a pharmacist and opened the town's family drugstore near the family home. On the night of July 22, 1874, William Faust's estranged wife Helen, or Helene, was spending the night. She and Emma began sleeping in the same bed, but sometime during the night, Helene moved to the floor. While they both slept, an assailant broke into the home, made his way to the room, and struck and killed Emma with an axe. He also struck Helene in the face. She survived her injury but remained blind the rest of her life. Helene's husband, William, was arrested for the crime a couple of months later. Despite maintaining his innocence and his maimed wife standing beside him in support, at his trial 15 months after the crime was committed, William was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison. The sentence did not sit well with the public, leading to several jail relocations of Faust to avoid being taken by a lynch mob. However, on July 29, 1876, while locked inside the Comal County Courthouse, Faust was shot and killed through his cell's window by an unknown assassin. Had justice finally been served in the death of a 12-year-old girl? Who assassinated William Faust? Is there a point to allowing the wheels of justice to continue turning if the public disagrees with the verdict? This dark chapter did not close, just yet. In June 1879, 3 years after Faust's murder, 2 Texas newspapers printed an article about a deathbed confession. One printed his name as M.A. Devers, and the other as M.P. Devers. Regardless, before his death, Devers, a traveling music teacher, confessed to killing Emma Volker and nearly killing Helene Faust. His intention was to rob the house. If this is true, then Faust suffered just as great an injustice as Emma. Current owner Erin delved deep into this case and writes about it in her book about the Magnolia Hotel, using courthouse and trial records. In these records, a woman came forward about a man named Devers, whom she was caring for, who had confessed to this crime. This evidence may have helped Faust in his efforts to get a new trial. Recall that Devers confessed again on his deathbed. One observation is that once law enforcement arrested Faust and the public got on board, and with Faust sentenced to life in prison instead of death, both law enforcement and the public would not tolerate attempting to bring someone else to justice despite the Devers confession. Patience had run dry in seeking justice for an innocent 12-year-old girl. The killing of Faust appeared to right the wrong. 150 years after this horrible crime, it's reasonable to believe that we will never know for certain whether Faust or Devers killed Emma, and there will always be 2 camps ascribed to each of the two's guilt. The involved spirits are the only ones who would really know. Besides the spirit of Emma, who has been seen inside the Magnolia Hotel, there are other spirits that have been reported. James Campbell, original owner of Magnolia Hotel. Emma's murderer in the unrestored second-floor room, number 3. A female spirit in the Indian Raid Shelter. Texas Ranger Jack Hayes. Pink Rosebud, a madam who mysteriously disappeared and whose spirit resides in an unrestored second-floor room that sometimes becomes heavy with the scent of flowers. An elderly woman named Amelia, whose renovated upstairs room has a rocking chair known to rock on its own. Sam, a freedman who chopped wood at the hotel and who was one of the 72 witnesses to testify at the Faust trial. He can sometimes be heard whistling on the unrestored side of the second floor. JJ, a traveling salesman who committed suicide in the renovated upstairs living room that was once a bedroom. A pregnant, unmarried young adult woman who attempted to perform an abortion on herself to prevent from being shamed. She wound up bleeding out in a tub on the unrestored second floor, killing herself and her unborn child. Idella Lampkin, whom according to current owner Erin is the guardian of the building. A cowboy-looking figure from Magnolia's stagecoach era, a residual spirit who committed suicide by gunshot to the head near the stagecoach. William Faust, convicted murderer of Emma Volker. He resides in the adobe section of the property, but also has a renovated upstairs bedroom where his spirit sometimes remains. Helene Faust, spouse of William Faust. She resides mainly in the kitchen of the first-floor adobe section. Little John, a young black boy most often seen in the first floor's last room. Sarah, who died of a broken heart in the ballroom waiting for her sweetheart to arrive, but who never did. Miss William Reed, mainly in the kitchen, assuring that it operates efficiently. Itzy, a young girl living in a corner room of the unrestored second floor. William and Jenny, 2 other children. We made about a dozen audio recordings total in every part of the hotel accessible to us. We recorded a lot of footsteps and thumps and even a disembodied voice, which we cannot determine what is said other than it is 2 syllables. So what you're about to hear are a few audio recordings. Some are from flash sessions. A flash session is when we sit in complete silence while allowing our digital recorder to record a few minutes at a time. Prior to this recording, Eliza suggested leaving a peppermint patty removed from its wrapping and placed on a napkin next to the digital recorder as an experiment. We sat in chairs in the dark next to a table where the digital recorder and candy was placed. We remained quiet during the short recording session, with our only movement being our breathing. In the clip, we believe what was recorded was the sound of lips smacking, but less than 10 seconds before that, you will hear those 2 syllables from that disembodied voice. Take a listen. And in this recording of nearly 5 minutes, Eliza and I remained perfectly still again. It was recorded in room 3 of the unrestored upstairs area. This room is known as the killer's room. During the recording, you will hear and easily determine sounds of passing vehicles, as the room is located in a corner of the hotel. But listen closely, preferably with headphones, and you will hear a bang, creaking wood, footsteps, shuffling, thumping, and a voice that twice within seconds of each other sounds like it's saying, "Oh." Here's that recording in its entirety. You feel free to talk to us any way you want. We will know by this device here. So we're going to be quiet.
Did it bother your conscience that you killed a child? Blinded a woman? And then you ran? And watched an innocent man be judged in your place? Okay, we're going now. We'll leave you to your own personal misery.
What is strange about what was captured on both recordings is that neither one of us heard anything with our own ears. All we heard was silence or the sound of a passing vehicle, which itself was easily captured on the recording. As soon as we arrived, we took a quick tour of the unrestored area while we still had daylight. The unrestored section is without power. The owners did a fantastic job with displaying important information about each room or area and its past inhabitants. The one thing we heard, but had yet begun recording, was as soon as we had left Sam's room after asking him to whistle for us, we heard whistling with our own ears. That was a nice welcome and a hopeful preview of what the evening had in store for us. With so much history tied to the hotel in one of the oldest cities in Texas, I agree much with what Erin Getty writes in her book regarding how she came to own it. Those thinking about renting the entire second floor and staying the night, the Gettys have one rule they strictly enforce: no video recording for public viewing of any kind, which includes live streaming. When Misfit Apparitions nearly made a reservation there back in 2021 and read this rule, we decided against it because, of course, we wanted to share any unexplained findings with our social media friends and the paranormal community. But after staying the night and then reading Erin Getty's book, I get it now. The hotel is not a typical haunted attraction like others we have visited. The Magnolia Hotel is meant more to be appreciated as well as investigated. It offers just enough modern amenities in a relaxing setting, while a wooden door separates that comfort from stepping decades back to another time with the majority of the second floor waiting to be investigated. It can be a unique experience for anyone. I have read that the Gettys may turn the first floor into a museum. Seguin and its history would only benefit from that, as long as the second floor remains what it is today. That's going to do it for this episode. Again, we appreciate you listening. If you have had or have paranormal experiences and would like to share them with us and listeners, please contact us and tell us about it. Your experience could be read during an episode, or if you prefer to be interviewed, your interview could be added to an episode. So until next time, keep spreading the word about us. We truly appreciate it. And remember, it's not the things in your life that matter, it's the memories. Cherish those and those whom you make them with. See you on the next episode of The Podcast.